Hello, and welcome back to the Black Women Lawyers Association of Michigan, where we're interviewing former presidents. Today we have former BLAM President Aina Watkins in celebration of our 30th anniversary. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Aina Watkins. I am an attorney from Detroit, Michigan, currently residing in the DMV, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Okay, and so how long have you been an attorney?
For 16 years, actually, 2006.
And are you barred in both Michigan and in other places?
Michigan and DC.
Okay, so how was that experience as far as being barred in two districts?
Well, the money, nobody pays the license fees like they used to, but when you work for the government, it's all you. So it was easy to get reciprocity after 5 years. I just completed the application and waved in. It took about 8 months,
Sounds good. Good for other people to know that that's an option for them as well.
of course.
As far as your association with BLAM, how long have you been associated with the organization?
And I think 2007, I became a member. I had graduated from Michigan State College of Law, went to Europe for about a year and came back and was became a solo practitioner. It was right before the economy got bad. So I was doing house counsel in 36th District Court and Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. And I ran into Christine Longstreet and she told me about the Black Women's Lawyers Association and I signed up.
Okay, so you were recruited by Christine.
Yes. But Cinnamon claims that she recruited me.
Senator Rice Plonka claims
Yes.
that she is the one that recruited you, but indeed it was Christine.
Yes.
I gotcha. I like the story. So, how has your BLAM association impacted your life, both professionally and personally?
Well, personally, friends for life. I mean, well, you included, but Christine, Cinnamon, Angela Williams, Earlene Baggett Hayes, and then also professionally, the network. It was a lot of solo practitioners that were part of a BLAM. And when I was first starting off, I was on criminal defense and networking with them. I mean, they were a resource. So it
Oh,
was a great opportunity for me.
sounds like the same story I have. You build great friendships and you upscale your business at the same time. So I look at it as a great benefit to be a member. Have you ever mentored any other attorneys?
Oh, I have. After solo practice, I started working for Michigan ASME Council 25. So I mentored my coworkers. I guess I won't say you kind of had a little leg up, but there were other people in our on our team or our staff that asked me where I gave them templates for briefs. People shadowed me in arbitration hearings and in court, so I would mentor them. I also mentor students, people fresh out of law school or people taking the bar exam. I used to be a member of the Straker Bar. They every fall. No, I think it was in February, right before the February bar. I would mentor students, help them with the bar exam. And then Michigan State College of Law, right before the pandemic, they asked me to mentor about 3 students. And so I've been mentoring them on and off.
Oh, that's good. So what benefits do you see as far as mentoring goes?
I mean, mentoring goes a long way. It's building a network. For mentoring, there have been people who are looking for jobs. When I hear about a job, let them know. I believe, I think Teray McKinney, I made sure, I think she was a member of BWLAM. I think I told her about the job. She applied, she got into Ask Me. Um, there is a student who had graduated law school from in DC. I think he was at Howard. Someone asked me, could I mentor them who lives in this area? I told him about Ben Frimpong and Tamika Frimpong, and Tamika interviewed for him for a job, and he got it. So, mentoring people, networking, you just never know.
Right. And I totally agree with the benefits of mentoring. I have a mentee here in the office. He also works for me as a paralegal sometimes. And I, male, and I knew that I can only take him so far. And so I reached out to Ben as well. And he agreed to mentor him. And that's been the ultimate relationship. So I agree that in addition to mentoring being a great benefit to others, it also increases your network and your ability to link others to people that you know.
Hmm.
What tips would you give a new lawyer just starting out, whether working for the government or a firm or a solo?
Join your local bar associations, especially the ones of color. I started off with the Wolverine Bar Association. I ended up joining Straker Bar Association and then the Black Women's Lawyers Association. And I would say, I mean, the network is still there. I'm still in touch with people. And then when I moved here 10 years ago, I mean, I had some classmates that used to live here, I mean, that lived here, but I joined the local bar associations and built a network. So I know a lot of people now and have resources and I can put people in touch with people. So that's the best thing.
I totally agree. What if somebody were interested in the Black Women Lawyers Association but was on the fence? Would you recommend that they become a member?
Well, I mean, if they're on the fence, I would say go to the programs. We have events well, we
Yep.
used to have events all the time. So just, be a wallflower and see how it goes. And then volunteer. I think the first event I volunteered for was a breakfast and I enjoyed it. And then also, one thing about when I was in Detroit, you and I work for Ask Me. And then people running for judgeships and hey, Ina, like, can I get on the list? Can you help me with some interview questions? I mean, I was a conduit.
Right. I totally agree. The benefits of joining BLAM, especially at the membership level that we have, we make sure that our membership dues are way below those of other organizations because we don't want it to be a gateway to the sisterhood and
Hmm.
the bonding that we have and the network that we have. So I encourage everybody to be a member of BLAM. When you worked here back in Michigan, did you
Hmm.
have a favorite county or city that you like working in?
Oh, Wayne County, bar none. I don't care where I lived in the area. That was home, and that was where I was comfortable.
Okay. Yeah, I don't agree. I prefer Washington myself. I don't know, for some reason I just do. But I get it. Wayne is home to many people and it's their favorite spot.
Well, let me tell you the reason why I say that. When I was a solo practitioner, to walk into 36 district court, 30 judges, 28 are of color. You walk into Wayne County, the criminal court, not all of them are black. It probably wasn't that many, but they will pull you to the side, encourage you, give you practice tips. I mean, you won't get that anywhere. Now, watching out for efficiency, I love it.
Right.
But when you're learning and you're grinding, I mean, that's where I mean that's why I love it. But they're not as efficient as other courts. But I needed that mentorship,
Oh,
and yeah. So
representation matters. It really
yes,
does. You
and
get
I
that
want to say and kudos to like Ruth Ann Garrett, Judge Jackson. I mean, these people. I mean, friends for life.
right. I truly understand. So what is one legal story that sticks out to you over your career and why does it stick out?
It's a Frank Murphy Hall of Justice story. Um, I was on the House Council list. If people don't know what that is, it's you represent indigent people. You get a fee for doing it. And so my first case was I think, what is it called? Home invasion in Michigan. And so I got this case, and it was a two defendant case. I was my co-counsel was Lillian Diallo. I believe she's a member as well. But um, my client was a habitual third. So if he went to jail, he was gonna do some time. And I was nervous. It was the first felony case that I had. And I was like reading the transcripts because someone else did the preliminary exam. And I get this case, and I'm just like, why is he being charged with home evasion? This don't seem right.
Right.
And so I'm like, is there a way that I can get these charges reduced? And he shouldn't be in Frank Murphy. So because I network and I talk to some prosecutors. I won't say any names right now, but I was like, is there something I could do to reduce these charges? And she was like, file a motion. Um, and I'm like, a motion. So I'm Googling and I'm researching because that's me. And I filed a motion to quash the bind over. I argued that this should be a larceny of a vacant dwelling because the home was unoccupied. It was actually being renovated.
Mm.
And the day of the hearing, I filed the motion in front of Judge Deborah Thomas, who was a founding member of the Black Women's Lawyers Association. And I was waiting on her to, it was like, I filed it 2 weeks before the trial. And so I'm sweating, like, I had to do this trial. And I walk into the courtroom, and Lily and I walk in, and we was like, why is like the senior prosecutor in this courtroom along with the other prosecutor? And so Judge Thomas came out on the bench, and she was like, you guys are prepared? And I was like, I guess. Then she was like, you know what? You guys don't have to be prepared for anything. I'm ordering this case to be dismissed. This should be a larceny of a vacant dwelling, a misdemeanor that does not belong in our court. And so the case was sent to 36th District Court. I'm not sure if the prosecutors refiled their charges, but the guy went home. And so I was happy.
Oh,
Everybody
that's
was happy.
out.
So everybody start from then. Everybody was like, Ina, can you draft a motion to quash for me?
Ah,
Every facts situation is different. So some I helped, some I didn't. I start running motions. I did one in Judge Jackson courtroom and got drug charges reduced. So if I continued to practice criminal law, I mean, it would have been a good thing. But labor was my passion. I had some street cred. People used to be like, Ina, why? Like, why you talking to that dude over there in the jumpsuit? And I'm like, oh, he's from the neighborhood. And they was like, I thought you were from the suburbs. I was like, no. So,
the
yeah.
neighborhood. Oh, that's a good story. I like that one. I have a home invasion story too, and that's why I don't practice criminal law at all. So I truly understand when it comes to overcharging people with that charge. I got a question for you. So you've been in this profession for 16 years. When you depart from this profession, well, how do you want to be remembered?
A strong advocate for my clients, a trustworthy practitioner, and also an author. I think I've become a writer so far. I mean, I'm starting to become a writer. I got an article published recently with a procurement lawyer. It's an ABA publication, and right now I'm getting my master's in law at GW and procurement. So maybe we'll have a treatise on procurement that I wrote or co-authored in the future.
Oh, that's
So,
amazing. I'm so happy for you. I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm a member of the ABA as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever treatise you have coming out. Congratulations on
I'm
that.
gonna say in the future. I'm not gonna say tomorrow, but one
No,
day.
I truly understand. I'm in the process of halfway through writing a book, and so I understand that that's a daunting task to start on this path of being an author. So I truly understand. It might not happen today, but at least you have the goal of it actually happening, and so
Mhm.
I'm still looking forward to it. What is your favorite legal saying or joke?
All right, I have this written down. A man who is his own lawyer has a fool for a client.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
And I don't believe in people doing pro bono. I mean, work representing themselves. Find somebody for real. I am not representing myself because I don't know everything.
Right. I agree. I tell people all the time when they appear in court on their own. I'm a lawyer and I have lawyers. So I don't
Right.
understand why you would ever show up without one. I don't understand. You find money for everything else. I need you to find money for a lawyer.
And look, Chandrika, you are my lawyer when I need
Oh
you
yeah.
to be. So you know how that go. Friends for
That,
life, attorney for life.
your attorney for life. Yes. That is so true. Now a legal story. So you said some things about your interactions with Judge Jackson, Judge Garrett, Judge Deborah Thomas. What is your most memorable legal story that has left a lasting impression on you?
It's, I mean, so many stories. I just, there's people pulling me aside and telling me, like, you rock, like, encouraging me.
My
Um,
my best most memorable legal story involving you is when we both worked at ASME together, American Federation of State County Municipal Employees together, and I asked you for a sample brief or something, and I had asked others
mm,
and they didn't share, and I was like, this makes no sense. And you were willing to share. And I still use that brief, so I left them. I would look at that brief as a template. And that was one of my most memorable moments of why are people gatekeeping information when it helps everybody? There's no
Hmm.
reason for that. And as a result of that, I advocated at Ask Me. I don't know if you were still there, but I advocated Ask Me that we need to have a brief bank.
Oh,
And as a result of that, our boss at the time, your boss before you left, and then my boss after he retired, President Garrett, established a brief bank, and everybody who had a brief had to upload it into the system.
oh, good.
So
And then,
yeah. So you're the fact that you shared and when others didn't, it led me because I'm an advocate all day, every day. If I see something I don't like, I'm gonna. All you can do is tell me no.
right. And
And so as a result of that, yeah, got a brief bank.
yes. And then one thing about me as well, and I wouldn't say memorable moment, I would just say I always give back because you don't know how much people need help. And, most people of color, when they go to law school, people always say, oh, you guys can't write, you get bad grades, or I don't say bad, but average grades. And when an arbitrator, a judge says, like, you win motions and they say your brief was amazing,
Yeah.
that means the world. And also one thing it asked me that I did, I instituted a decision bank. So any arbitration decisions, we had them online because when people would file grievances, and I would have to tell them, you want to know what a winning case is? Read these decisions and orders. And if you're close enough to this fact pattern, you're going to win. If you're not so much. So it gave people an idea before they filed a charge or a complaint or just anything, just to
Yeah.
have that background. So that was
Yeah.
good what you did.
You as well. I didn't know that was your baby. The decision because we needed that. Soon after you left, they took it down.
And then I also work with Grand Valley State University where I went undergrad with their arbitration. It was a school of business, but they had a section on labor, and so the former Merck chair, Star Swift, she would teach courses, and most unions would not let kids, not kids, yeah, there were kids, students, see their decisions and orders, and so that brief bank was a connection. They had a link to our site, and so
Yeah.
I would redact the grievance and the employer, but it gave them an idea. And we did mock arbitrations together. I was a mock arbitrator, and so they actually got a taste of arbitration.
Yeah, I agree with you. And now while I'm having this conversation with you, I just think about the impact that two Black women lawyers had on one organization and the
Hmm.
fact that we were both advocating for transparency in the process. Because as Black women, particularly in how we present ourselves in this world, a lot of things are hidden from us that we are not aware of, don't know about, and others do. And as a result of that, you are behind when others are ahead. And
Yeah.
so I appreciate that we both were advocating for transparency when we were in positions to be able to do so.
And you know what? I realized how powerful we were because ASME was the only union in Michigan that was headed by a Black person at the
Correct.
time. So we got a taste of a lot of things, and most people wouldn't even have an opportunity to see or do.
No.
So,
No, I had many bosses. I've been working since I was 14. So I had many
mhm.
bosses over the years. By far, President Garrett was the best boss that I had, not his assistant, but President Garrett was, was the best.
Wait, yeah, his assistant. No comment.
No comment, but he was the best boss I ever had because he always had an open door policy
Yes.
regarding to be able to come to him to talk about anything. And he was open, even though he was an older Black man, he was
Hmm.
open to changing things as long as you could justify why it needed to be changed and what could possibly happen if it were to change. I so appreciated that in him so much.
Yes. Kudos to Al Garrett.
Yeah. So now that you are in DC, what are you doing here?
So right now, I work for the federal government, the Department of Energy, in an area called the Office of Science. They have 10 national laboratories, and within those laboratories, the 10 laboratories, they do work for the mission. So, for example, the 10 that I work with, I actually negotiate the contracts between the union. No, sorry, not the union, the contractor, which would be like Berkeley, in the Office of Science, Department of Energy. My section is the labor and employment law section of the contract. So I monitor the contract, administer the contract, negotiate the changes. So I'm a subject matter expert for anything labor. So there are things called the federal acquisition regulations that tell us, what should be in a contract. So I make sure that information is in the contract. So I'm still a labor advocate or a labor person, but in a procurement role. So hence I went back to school to become a procurement lawyer.
Okay, and what does that mean when you say procurement lawyer?
Government contracts. So it's very lucrative. The United States, most of the people who work for the people think, oh, it's a lot of people who work for the federal government. It is not. We probably have contracts with companies like Department of Defense, Lockheed Martin, or in my situation, the Office of Science. The mission is Berkeley. We may have 3,000 people who work for that lab. Their mission is to build a supercomputer. Their mission is to create a cure for cancer, anything, something. And then we take that information and people develop it. I think one of our labs, Argonne Lab or Fermi Lab, created the MRI machine. They cooked the recipe for the bomb for the Navy. So a lot of things you don't know about is secret, and people, it's a lot of espionage, but um, it's you just draft these contracts. Our contracts range from maybe 50 million, the smallest lab, to $3 billion. And so we just make sure people who want to contract with the government, contracts as small as janitorial services.
Yeah.
It's called procurement or government contracts. And
Yeah.
so for services, materials, but our contracts are cost reimbursement. So we reimburse the employees at these labs for wages, benefits, because the things that they did for us and during the Cold War, um, you know, building nuclear weapons, I mean, is hazardous to one's health. So we protect the people who work for us.
Oh wow, yeah. So I get a good picture of that. So I have many relatives that were in the military, and then once they retired from the military, began working for private contractors who have contracts with the government, and a lot of them in the DMV area. So I understand that there are levels to government contracts, and that a lot of people are under the impression that the government has a lot of employees when indeed they have a lot of subcontractors and contractors doing the work that we think that they're government employees. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that is
so
true.
that's a good path to go down. I might have to follow because I'm a contract attorney. I love to read and dissect and draft and all that stuff. You might be inspiring me today.
Well, you and I, we can start something. I'm willing
I'm
to
down.
go to work.
I'm always down. Well, I appreciate you participating in these interviews celebrating BLAM's 30th anniversary. And the best of it to you for your future endeavors, whatever path you choose to be on. And thank you for your service to BLAM and your continued dedication to the organization and recruiting and building the organization and let other people know about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks
Aina
for
Watkins.
inviting me.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.